Hello, Yakari here with another Dominions 5 video. So this time I'm going to be going over Blood 7 through 9 spells. Alright, let's just jump into it. So, we've got Leech. Leech is like one of the first really extend out blood combat spells, right? So I mentioned some of the useful things in the other ones, but this thing is kind of crazy in the sense that it is a brutally effective thug killer, right? It deals 25 armor negating damage. This armor negating damage is not subject to magic resistance checks or anything, right? Just 25 armor negating damage. Boom, straight up. Has 100% precision, or not 100%, but 100 precision, meaning perfect precision, and casting time of 150%, not too bad. Costs only 1 blood slave, only 1 blood magic requirement, and only 100 fatigue. Now, admittedly, only 100 fatigue, so this is kind of hard for, say, a Blood 1 mage to spam, but a Blood 1 mage can cast it once, and this is going to be enough to potentially kill many thugs, right? Maybe not potentially kill many thugs, but it's going to be a serious inconvenience to them, possibly enough that a force of province defense could finish them off, right? It could tip the scales, certainly. And if you have a Blood 2 mage, or 2 Blood 1 mages, this could really get into the category of just killing them, right? At 50 total damage, that's pretty nasty. A lot of thugs are going to get killed by that. If you have like 3 blood mages, all right, they're fucked, right? Blood 2 mage, of course, could cast it twice. A blood 3 mage would be able to cast it numerous times. It's a great spell for your blood hunters who are just hanging out in the boonies and could potentially be targeted by thugs to use to defend themselves. So you've got like 15 PD on the province because you want that patrol bonus, and you want to keep protected a little bit since you're blood hunting there. And so you've got a 15 PD plus a mage who casts this once, maybe twice, because they're going to wake up again after the spell goes off. Green Life does restore some fatigue. I think that will happen after you get the fatigue from casting it. So yeah, they'll cast it, they'll wake up, they'll probably get a second cast off, even for a single Blood 1 slave in a fight with that province defense turn in there. So you really need like a really gnarly thug to be able to survive this, okay? So yeah, it's just a really, really powerful spell. People kind of complain about it being a little bit too overpowered, but it was nerfed a bit coming into Dominions 5 because of that cast time greater than normal. I don't think it's been changed otherwise, though. All right, Bloodright. Ah, yes, the vampire summon. So this one, these little vampires are not super great. There's kind of a neat thing now in Dominions 5, though. These vampires are immortal, and that's good old regular immortality, which now means that if they die in the enemy's dominion, they will just come back. So each one of these guys that you summon, provided you summon them on a place you don't intend to lose until you've lost the game, like your capital, each one of these guys you summon will not be dying permanently ever. So if you build up, you spend like 200 blood slaves, you build up like a force of 20 of these guys. This is like an immortal raiding force. You can just send it out because they do fly. They can't cross rivers, so keep that in mind. That can actually be a bit of a problem for you. However, they got invulnerability 25, despite their stat block looking really terrible. Like versus a regular village, these guys are as hard to kill as like heavy cavalry, versus just like militia and stuff. So 20 of these guys is actually a force to be reckoned with versus an army that isn't supported by mages. And they're only 11 blood slaves each. It's not that bad, considering they can't ever be permanently killed. Yeah, not my favorite vampire-related spell, but still very good. Maybe in Dominions 5. I'm a little undecided on it, but I think it's decent. Blood Rain, this reduces everyone's morale. That's great if your units all have super high morale. So, like, if your units are reduced to morale and still have 11 or 12 or 13 morale, and the enemy units now have like 7 morale, and you've also got a wave of Demon Knights at the front using a Fear Aura to reduce the enemy's morale, this just potentially causes the enemy to rout much earlier than you, especially if your army has become mostly demons who have like 30 morale and just really don't give a fuck. Then it's fantastic. Okay, so Summon Vampire Lord. This is where I get more excited about vampires. So these guys are real nice. They have life drain as attack, standard vampire stuff, good stat block, no protection, 15 hit points. All right. Not bad, but the thing is that they are a Death 3, Blood 3 mage. That gives them access to some really useful just stuff that they can do. They can cast Horde of Skeletons. You could buff them up to cast Soul Vortex. They can be Blood Communion Masters and cast big death spells. And they are immortal. If they are killed, they're just going to come back in a few turns. So that is really nice for these guys. Really good investment in terms of like spending blood slaves to get a mage. This is like one of the better things you can do, honestly. It's good magic pathing, you can't lose it, and the vampires are have a pretty good set of abilities already, right? Like regeneration, stealthy, invulnerability is a little lackluster, but flying, very good. So I really like those guys. I really like the spell in general. I think it's pretty good. Poseidon, Pedosidon. Father Illerth. Alright, so Father Illerth is pretty good. I mean, he's a Earth 4, Blood 3 mage that has 130 freaking hit points. You can deck him out as a super combatant. You can have him cast dank spells. He's got freaking regeneration. I mean, I don't know what more you want. I probably would I don't know, send him around to cast Earthquake at people a lot. He's got a Fear Aura. This guy is just amazing if you actually get to summon him. He's a great, like, big mage commander type guy you can throw around. And you can do a lot of good stuff with him. Okay, send Dream Horror. I can't remember. Unrest will increase until the horror is found and slain. That's right. They have to patrol the... Yeah, alright. So this is 15 slaves. You can kind of annoy someone with this, but it's not too good in my experience. Alright, bind Archdevils. This is what we really want. Oh, this stuff is fucking great. I think that this, like, Demon Lords. Demon Lords is better, but Archdevils are quite good, you know, as you might expect from them being... Did I actually get all separate ones? Yeah, I didn't double up on anybody. Good. Okay, so, these guys are a tier higher than the Ice Devils, and it shows. So 3 fire, 3 astral, super good. Again, this is a case where it's blood and fire magic, and it breaks you into a third path. Now, unfortunately, this is the only dude who breaks you into another path, but these other guys with 4 fire magic are just fantastic evocation, just like combat mages, right? If you also get up into evocation, they can just spam falling fires all day. It's great. They can also do things like cast Phoenix Pyre if you have really high alteration, and, you know, go in as like thugs that respawn multiple times per battle. And yes, they're pretty nice in that sense. Big heat auras, great stat blocks for the most part. These guys are a lot of fun, but mostly I would value them as just like big, tough fire mages that like can't easily be killed by battlefield magic and stuff like that. Okay. Purify Blood. Yeah. Army battlefield-wide poison resistance. So this is the kind of counter to Foul Vapors, or if anyone's doing like some really annoying poison strats to you, otherwise it's not useful. And unfortunately, this is a pretty late game. It's a pretty late game before you can actually counter poison like this. So, you know, I don't know. Something to take note of if you want to kill people with poison. They have to go like deep into blood for like a solid counter. I don't know if there's another. I think there might be another nature poison resistance spell. I've probably even covered it. I mean, I must have covered it if there was, but I don't remember right now if there is. That one is certainly a good option though if you do have access to this level of blood magic and need to protect yourself from that kind of thing. That's another one of the dome spells. Let's see, what was the exact stats on this? Horrors create a dome that protect people from outside of the province. Might drive the casting mage insane. Ah, yes, great. And 75% chance to block the spells, I assume that means. Raiders of the Dome will exchange... Oh, yeah, that's right. This is pretty bad because horrors attack and kill your mages inside of the spell. I cast this not really realizing what it did once in a game, and I had a really bad time. I lost a bunch of mages. Not a bunch, but a few mages. So that's not the best outcome. Demonic Locusts. I swear these are new, but maybe they're not, and I just forgot about them. Let's see. You summon 9 of them for 88 blood slaves. Oh, and it's ranged. Okay. Huh. Miles, where's the fall? I really don't remember the spell. Okay. A sword will quickly decrease dominion in a province unless dealt with. Oh, so this remote summons units that are hidden, I assume. Right? And they decrease, they are heretics. Oh, okay. Okay, maybe they're not, or they're not hidden and you can just put them in a province maybe you control to remove enemy dominion in it. Interesting. pretty sure these are new. I don't know if that's worth it. 88. Oh, wow. 9 Heretic, 1 units, though. It's quite a lot. But 88 Blood Slaves. Jesus, that's pretty expensive. You better really want it. Astral Corruption. Okay, so this is an interesting spell. Astral Corruption taints the whole world with blood magic, right? It's kind of like you rip open a tear into the horrific beyond, right? So anyone casting a ritual or crafting a magic item that is not blood magic oriented, there's a chance that a horror will attack the mage who's crafting it, right? In an assassination. And so that's pretty rough as it is. However, this has this secondary effect of giving a chance to summon these like super horrors when you cast Send Horror, or I don't think Call Lesser Horror or Send Lesser Horror does it, right? But Send Lesser Horror, I think, can potentially send a regular horror, and the regular horror thing can like send better stuff and send like the super horror guys. I forget what they're called. So you can kind of use this as like a combo with Send Horror Spam if you have a ton of Blood Gem income, to use like just waves of Send Horror to take out enemy armies and stuff. It's a little interesting because it's kind of RNG based, and the horrors will attack each other sometimes too, and they're not really like friends or anything. So it gets interesting results, but it's been used as a win condition in games before. I managed to like fight my way through a game with that one time using Late Age Ulm, so it's pretty interesting. Crossbreeding. Alright, so this is improved crossbreeding. I actually already talked about this. Everything I said about crossbreeding before applies, but you get way more, and it's a little more efficient. This is a bit more worth it than regular crossbreeding, but it's still not like a good strategy, really. Life for a life. Ah, yes. You sacrifice a virgin to kill an enemy. It's armor negating and ignores shields and deals 40... This deals like a fuckload of damage, actually. It's actually a pretty good. This is like a super version of that other Thug Killer spell, but at a lower. That was at a lower level. Leech, right? At Blood 7. Really any different? I'm almost not sure it's worth it though, right? Because it's not lifesteal, so it doesn't heal the mage and restore your fatigue. But yeah, you know, and it's a 200 fatigue cost instead of 100. But it. No, casting time is 150% too. Oh, it does do 40 damage per cast though, which is quite good if you need to take out a thug. So it's still probably great for that. Rush of Strength. So this is like that strength spell that buffs demons, but it buffs everybody. Super good. Like battlefield-wide strength buff, incredibly good. Yeah, stoked to cast that anytime, for sure. Horror Seed, let's see. Not necessarily going to change the course of a battle incidentally, the Rush of Strength, but it helps a lot. Dude, it gives your crappy troops more opportunity to kill things. Really good when comboed with multiple attacks. Okay. You know, I cast this a few times, but it didn't really ever do much to the people I cast it on. So it just harasses a province with horror. It harasses a province with like these little horror attacks, and they can potentially kill a master one eventually, and it's kind of just this weird event chain thing. But I never got any good value out of it casting it on people. I casted quite a few times when I was doing my whole astral corruption horror spamming conquest, to not much effect. But you know, perhaps I'm wrong, and someone knows like that it has like a really good particular use, or I was just unlucky. I don't know. But didn't have a very good experience with it. So, bind Heliophagus. Alright. Phagus? Phagus. Phagus. Heliophage. Heliophaguses. Okay. These guys are pretty good. I mean, it's blood, fire, blood, death, and blood, death. So, the neat thing about this is if you only have access to blood magic, you can get into fire and death magic. Very handy. Overall, these guys are powerful mages that are good thugs, just like has been the theme with these sort of dudes. But these guys are at an even higher tier than ever before, and in particular have that sweet, sweet blood magic. So one particularly good use for these guys is to get some high power blood mages to throw items on so that they can cast more summoning spells for you, right? So you get more summoning spells done in a turn and stuff like that. This is kind of neat, like summon a remote fort, or conjure a remote fort type spells are mostly not that good except for when they're really good, right? Because once in a while you might need to just slam down a fort on like a throne province to slow someone down by a day or two, or a turn or two, capping a throne. Although you probably should have built fortresses on a throne before that. Blood Vortex. So this spell is super good. It gives you... So it drains population from the province that you stick it in, right? And it gives you blood slaves per turn based on the population of the province you stick it in. And it also drains population from various provinces throughout the world, right? As they are like attracted to the blood vortex and sucked into it to fuel your blood magic, right? So you need to put this in a province with a ton of population, like your capital, or a capital that you've captured from someone else. You really, if you're a blood nation that has gone up to blood 8, you really don't give a fuck about your gold income, right? So cast this on a capital. No, who gives a fuck what it does to the capital? Hopefully you have growth 3, and if the capital has like 20,000, 5,000 plus population, which it probably does, this will not destroy its population, at least not very quickly. So you should have time to close out the game. But you definitely want to cast this. You need this kind of like crazy amount of blood income. I can't remember how much I was getting from this, like 50 blood slaves a turn, I want to say. I don't remember exactly how good it is, but the extra income from that is definitely valuable. Okay, so damage reversal. This is the like improved version of Blood Vengeance, right? Where there's an MR check, and I think if the enemy fails the MR check, you reflect the damage back on them without taking it. This is a good way to protect a caster that you need to protect, like a Communion Master, for example. Yeah, to protect him from stuff like, I don't know, evocations, battlefield spells that you might hit him, right? That's pretty much what. Infernal Prison. This throws people into the Inferno. It's like a shittier... No, it does not. Okay, this could be a good anti-thug thing, right? Because this is not... There is no magic resistance check, and they go straight to the Inferno. That's right. There's certain types of units can come back from the Inferno, but if someone's like throwing Titans at you, from the Tartarians from the Tartarian Gate spell, and they've made them into thugs, you can just cast that, send them off to the Inferno, and that's them taken care of. There's a chance for things to come back from the Inferno, but it's good enough to stop someone raiding your provinces, certainly. Kokoritos, same deal. Just different people have the ability to escape it, mainly Ice Devils, right? Send Horror. This is the greatest version of Send Horror. Was there a version between Lesser and this? I forget. The Send Lesser just goes to Send Horror at level 9. Oh, okay. I remember this being less. Maybe this was how they nerfed this, because I feel like they were planning on nerfing this coming up to Dominion 5, right? Because it was a little bit... I don't know if I would necessarily call it broken, actually. Although I beat people with it, I feel like I wouldn't have had nearly as much trouble playing against it myself. Mostly because you just don't let the game go until someone can cast like Astral Corruption and Blood Vortex. Ideally. It requires a pretty late game to make maximum usage out of it. Anyway, what was I trying to say about this? I think it's late. I think it used to be earlier, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Anyhow, this is the spell you combo with Astral Corruption to, if you spam it enough, take out whole armies. I mean, there's like a little asterisk in here that there are counters to it, and people can potentially handle your horrors spam if they've got the right kind of army and everything, and it's still quite irritating, right? It's 20 blood slaves, so you can cast this like a lot of times to take out someone's army. I've had some interesting games back in Dominions 4 with this, because of course I did win that game. Spamming the hell out of this, but also, you know, it's more difficult than you might think when you're late enough in the game that someone else has like half of the map and you've got half of the map, or maybe I think it was more like we each had a third of the map and then everyone else was trapped in the remaining third, and there were still a few other nations in play. But anyway, you know, I had like 6 armies coming after me, and it starts to become a little more challenging to use your great army destroying spell when it takes, like, you know, 6 spell casts over several turns to take out one of the 6 armies coming to eat you, if you don't have great armies of your own, which I didn't so much from destroying my economy with blood slaves. Anyway, bit of a side note there. I think Send Horror is really fun because you get interesting results out of it. And it's a bit RNG based. Like, you can spam it at someone and just get shit for a turn, and you know, that's what you must face if you wish to go down that route to victory. Okay, so now we get to the more reliable win condition type spells in blood magic. So this is just summon a bunch of whatever demon, right? And these are totally worth it because you get a bunch of demons, and getting like 100 storm demons or something is definitely a way to like win pretty tough fights. I think Demon Knight's probably still the best one. 10 Demon Knights for 50 blood slaves is actually better deal than the Storm Demons. They're probably the best demon to summon, and they're relatively cost effective, so I think they're a little bit overpowered, probably. Infernal Forces is actually alright too, because 7+ devils with 20x imps, right? Pretty good, actually. The imps are just cannon fodder, but cannon fodder is fine. We don't mind cannon fodder around here, right? But yeah, for sure. I think the Infernal Forces and Infernal Crusade are better than the Forces of Ice and Infernal Tempest, actually. I think they're kind of overvaluing, the devs are kind of overvaluing Storm Demons. Not that they're bad, it's just, dude, like, fucking Demon Knights are super good. Fear is extremely powerful. Especially when you've reached this like endgame tier. I think the Demon Knights are one of the better ones to buff with spells, right? So level 9 research, like once you've reached this, even if you haven't done anything else for some reason, you can very easily like just spam up to like 5 alteration or something, or 5 and a couple other magic schools after that, because you're gonna have a lot of research power. Okay, Forces of Darkness, these guys are kind of whatever. We don't really care about them. Forget it. The Looming Hell. Oh, I can't remember if this is good. I don't remember what this does. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. There's only 2 things that have totally stumped me, I think, so far. 3 things? 3 things. And this is definitely one of them. I will persuade any victims. What? Devils appear in people's dreams, and it's like, what, an assassination? Oh, they try and get people to assassinate their own commander. I don't think this was very good, if my memory serves. Okay, so I definitely do remember this, actually. I'm pretty sure it's bad. Okay, but Bind Demon Lord, this is fucking awesome. Actually, one of the cooler things in the game. Maybe the best mage summon in the game, I think, right? Like, out of, like, generic spells. Because the Demon Lords are, like, super, or Demon Princes. Demon Princes, Demon Lords, very, very good. Ritual Summon Unique Commander. So these guys are all just crazy good and give you access to powerful endgame magic, and it only requires blood to access. So here's the nice thing. If you don't have access to powerful fire magic, astral magic, nature magic, death magic, air magic, earth magic, you get access to all those things. Okay? That's what this gets you, access to all that shit. And in turn, you can then cast some spells in like Conjuration, for example, to get access to more types of mages and stuff with these guys. But then there are other things you can do if you make these guys communion leaders, for example, because they all have blood magic, so they can all be communion leaders. You can do stuff like cast mass regeneration. Done that in the game, although, must admit, I didn't actually play my way through that game. I just subbed in for a game that I eventually lost, where I had access to these guys already. It was quite fun. Cast Mass Regeneration, you can cast Fog Warriors, you can cast, I can't remember what the super high tier fire spells are called, but you can cast them, and you can cast some pretty good arcane stuff. Arcane 3 is kind of like a crappy starting point, actually, unlike all the 4s in here and like the 5 air, but still. You can cast some good earth spells as well. Yeah. Oof. And of course, you can cast a lot of big blood spells starting at 5 blood. It's quite good, and these guys are all also, like, potentially viable super combatant chassis, I would say. Maybe not all of them. Belphegor probably isn't, just because he does not have a humanoid body, and humanoid bodies are actually kind of great. But that's fine, because he generates blood slaves for you and automatically summons slaves. Belphegor. I don't remember these guys. Oh, interesting. They're like just free human soldiers. Interesting. Not super great, but whatever. Mostly you're gonna want these guys for their mage capabilities, right? And yeah, they're super good. They give you, in combination with like the other spells in blood and the other spell schools you have access to, the capacity to close out the game, or like some options for like closing out the game and winning the game. Yeah, assuming it is a longer game, right? Because I've finished a decent number of games before I've had the opportunity to get to 9 in a spell school. I've also had some games go where I've got like 9 and 4 spell schools if I was a hard enough researching nation. But that's more of like a 90 turn thing when you're also like generating a huge amount of research and doing well in the game. But yeah, so that concludes blood magic. Also, it concludes my whole thing of Dominion's spell schools. I've covered every generic spell in Dominions now. So Whew, that was a long time goal of mine with my Dominions videos. I hope you have enjoyed them, and if you do, please like, comment, subscribe, you know, whatever. Any sort of community interaction is both fun for me and helps out my channel, so I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Yakri out.